Coach, several NBA players are in protocols, players from other professional leagues. Tulane had to shut down its basketball operations. Has the university made booster shots available to you, your staff, and your players?
Well, we are 100% vaccinated. Every player, every member of our staff, everybody surrounding our entire program is 100% vaccinated. Obviously, we talked to our guys about the booster shot, so I know, again, that's kind of the next step and so forth. But right now we do a really good job with our daily protocol, and we're just hoping for health and safety for everybody.
And now on to my basketball questions. Your team is only allowing 56.4 points a game. 8 games into the season. Obviously, you guys are defending at a very high level. How do you see your defense right now?
But the one thing that I've been very pleased with is defense is multiple efforts, and our guys have been able to do that. They've grasped the overall concepts of our system and style defensively, and the one thing that's nice about that style is it does allow for some personal freedom in that. Javon Green with his ability to play for some steals and different things like that. Russell and his protecting of the rim in a different way. Maybe not as many block shots, but just a physical presence down there, where Jake Boggs blocks shots coming from weak side and different things like that. And so, I think it's been a buy-in to the concepts, and also to the understanding that the quickest way to kind of come together is on the defensive end of the court.
Jameer Chaplin, he has scored in double figures in 3 of your 4 wins. He's averaging 10 points and 5 rebounds in your wins, but only like 2.3 points in your loss. Is he your X factor?
He's a key factor for us. The second half that he played the other night was the reason we ended up winning the game. We stretched the lead, and then we're able to extend it again at the end of the game, was because it was him. A little bit some foul trouble in some of those other games, but one of the biggest steps that you got to make is to go from a kind of a role player to more of a focused impact guy, and that's the step that he's taking right now. And it doesn't happen overnight. You're going to have some ups and downs, but I think he's done a good job over the last couple weeks of getting back to doing some of the things that created my feeling of his ability to make an impact. Defending, rebounding, getting out on the break, getting to the free throw line. Not just all shooting and jump shots, but some other areas, and I thought you saw that the other night.
Speaking of ups and downs, you haven't won back-to-back games since that that 2-0 start. Now, I know that you're not always what your record indicates, but what are maybe some inconsistencies that you're seeing at the moment that you would like to fix as quickly as possible?
Yeah, I think, the 3 biggest ones are on the offensive end of the court. We have to be more efficient offensively. In the past, that would include turnovers. Even though we had 16 the other night, we've done a good job of taking care of the ball. We need to really execute our offense. And that's created good shots when we do that. From there, we got to be able to make some of those shots. We got to shoot at a higher percentage. Field goal percentage, 3-point field goal percentage. We did a good job from the free throw line the other night. And then we have to be more consistent in our offensive rebounding. We have to do a good job of getting those and then turning those into hustle points. And if you do those 3 things, our consistency overall will dramatically improve.
So you just mentioned your offense, and we also talked about how good your defense has been. Obviously, you don't want one of the 2 to be bad. You want them both to be good. But if you had to pick, would you rather have your defense be taken care of and then your offense something to work on?
Well, yeah, I thought it would be reverse heading into this year with all the new guys, But I think we've shown steadiness on the defensive end and some really good flashes on the offensive end. So what our job now is to make those flashes longer, you know what I mean, and turn them into 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-minute stretches as opposed to 2 or 3-minute stretches that we've kind of been seeing in the first 7 games.
Looking ahead to Saturday, when I watched Florida, one of the many things that stood out to me was their players' ability to rebound out of their area. Is that something that coaches can teach a player, or is it something that you just have to have the desire to go get the ball?
I think more so the second, and the first can be accelerated a little bit by points of emphasis by the coaching staff and maybe showing them some different things. They're very athletic, long, they play extremely hard. Mike has them playing unbelievably hard. And when you do that, you have a greater tendency to chase down long rebounds, loose balls, different things like that. So unless you're putting a body on those guys and they have a free reign to go get it, they're really dynamic when it comes to offensive rebounding.
Speaking of how hard they play, looks like your press offense is going to be tested.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to pick up 94 feet every basket, and then in the half court, they're gonna, on a miss, they're going to pick up and pressure you all over the court. So you have to do a great job of taking care of the ball. You got to be strong with the ball. You got to execute. You got to have multiple guys. It can't just be one guy, and that's one of the things that we got to understand is multiple guys got to help against. They're pressing with 5 guys. We got to break the press with 5 guys. And over a 40-minute span, you got to have different guys be able to make plays against a very, very stingy defense.
We'll all be dead and buried in our graves cold before we can get Jose Fernandez to praise himself. So I'm going to ask you to do it for us. He's closing in on 400 wins. What do you think of whenever you think of a coach like Jose Fernandez?
Well, when you look at it, where he took this program, and he did it the right way. It wasn't some overnight success. He kept building. So much of his culture and program is under the surface, and now the above the surface is all the wins. And that under the surface, that foundation never changes. Players change, coaches change, leagues change, dynamics of how you have to play change, but his foundational pieces, how hard they play, the togetherness that they play with, the unselfishness that they play with, the idea that people buy in, his players and coaches buy into, he's leading the troops and they're all part of it. That hasn't changed at one minute, and that's why he's able to continue to be successful. He's got a great understanding of the game. I think he'll be the first to admit it's probably the time he spent working with me at the Spartan cage camps back in East Lansing in the early 90s. But I have a unique perspective on Jose because I've known him since he was a 19-year-old kid wanting to get into the coaching profession, and I was a 22-year-old graduate assistant. So he's just done an unbelievable job, and 400 is going to turn to 500, and 500 is going to turn into 600.
What kind of conversations do you guys, I don't know how it works from program to program between the men's and women's team. Do you guys spend a lot of time, just talking ball with each other? Yeah,
obviously we've been friends for a long time now. So we talk basketball, we talk families, we talk, we have a lot of the same experiences growing up and getting into this profession at a young age and working our way up from the bottom, from the very bottom. So yeah, we do spend a lot of time, we have some different philosophies, but a lot of the same core beliefs in terms of what needs to be done and how to do them. So there's a lot of common threads there. All good? All right, guys, you got it.